A global rise in loneliness and social isolation has been recognized as a major public health crisis by the World Health Organization, with 1 in 6 people worldwide affected. Here at home, one Ontario educator sounding the alarm about what he calls an empathy emergency. That's a growing wave of emotional disconnection among young people that could jeopardize both their academic and social development. Joining me right now to talk about this is youth advocate and speaker Aubrey Noronha. Aubrey, thank you very much for taking time to speak with us. So I want to go over this. 42% of Canadian youth report feeling disconnected from their peers. This is according to Statistics Canada. What does that mean?
I'm learning this so much every day as I'm speaking to students, as young as kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. There is a disconnect happening in their interactions with their peers, with their caring adults in their life, their teachers, their parents, their guardians, and it's all over the place.
Okay, so Aubrey, we're talking about this because look, students are getting ready to go back to school. Parents are getting ready to shift their lives as well. And teachers, educators are getting ready to welcome these students back. What do we need to know?
What we need to know is that our students are facing a gap in their connection with other human beings like never before. There is bad news, there is good news too, but we do need to focus a little bit on the bad news, and that is so many of these students have been slowly but surely replacing their connection with other human beings with their phones, with their tech, with AI, etc.
Okay, so this is important because, Aubrey, you and I met, 4 or 5 years ago during the pandemic. I was interviewing a teacher, and the teacher said, you have to meet and talk to this guy. What have you noticed that has carried on from that isolation during the pandemic to right now in 2025?
20 years ago, students were spending about 60 minutes a day with their peers. 20 years later, it went down to 20 minutes a day. Then the pandemic hit, and it got even worse. And after a while, the social skill muscles that students had weakened, and it weakened more and more. And there's just been an absolute decay of that ability to engage with other people.
Are we talking about high school students, grade school students? Who's affected by this?
I speak to kindergartens all the way to grade 12s, and I've seen that really in the middle school era, from grade 6 to grade 12 into the high school era. Psychology today called it the Gen Z stare. There's this lull that is coming across the face of so many students where they just look at you blank. They don't look happy, they don't look sad, they don't look like anything's going on. And what I think is that many of them are just existing instead of really living.
Okay, so have we gone over all of the bad news?
We have.
Okay.
There's a lot more, but the good news is that there's good news.
Well, let's talk about the good news.
The good news is that what we've been through in the last few years, having coming out of COVID, is that habits change, trends change, but human needs don't change. And the ability to meet those needs is there. And this is one of the messages that I have for adults when I'm speaking with staff at schools or when I'm speaking with parents and guardians is, listen, we may not know all of the ins and outs of Snapchat. We may not know all of the intricacies of technology, but we're older than these kids. We're smarter than them. We have more life experience, and we've got this. We know how to bring them out of just existing to living.
Okay, so let's talk about the tools that you can equip parents with on this long weekend to have these conversations that are going to set these families up for success.
This is the biggest encouragement I want to give to families and parents specifically. Whatever you say to your kid before the first day of school, they're not going to remember. And the good part about that is that it's not about a one and done conversation like any other important topics. It's about creating a closeness with your kids. And if you haven't done so already, start doing little things to create that connection with them now so that their hearts are open to what you have to say for the rest of the school year.
Okay, give us an example.
For example, number 1, do mundane things with your kids. Whether they're in high school or whether they're younger, do mundane things with them with no screens around, no phones around. For example, this is going to sound novel, but do laundry together, do chores together, and go out in nature together with no other focus other than just getting something done together. And when you have no phone around and they have no phone around, you will notice naturally connection is starting to get built. Conversations are starting to be had. That's one. Another thing that you can do is have meals together, cook together. If you can't have a meal with your kid every single day, my son just said to me, he said, I like the fact that we eat together a lot. We always have jazz music playing or reggae music playing and candlelight, even if it's 5 PM. Have meals with your kids. All you're doing is creating these connections where they're just used to talking to you and they're used to listening to you. And then the third thing I'd recommend is be honest with your kids about what's going on in your world. Instead of asking your kid, hey, how was your day? You could take it to what was one highlight of your day? What was one low light of your day? Or this is one that I came across recently. Ask your kid this question. If you could repeat one part of your day today, which part would you repeat? If you could avoid any part of your day being repeated, which one would you want to avoid? And just these simple conversation starters can make such a beautiful connection.
So what about once the students are in the classroom, what do you have to say for teachers?
One of the things that I really want to encourage to teachers is, number one, you need to have compassion for yourself. You have these teachers that, and most of my friends are educators because of the work that I do. And what I want to tell educators is have compassion for yourself this year, this first week, this first few months. You got 20 to 30 kids that you are working with and you're functioning as their guardian for 6 hours a day, 7 hours a day. Have compassion for yourself. Number two, I'd recommend that you remember that this is a season. It's not just about the first day. The first day is going to be a mess for everybody, and that's okay. Mess is good. But remember that this is a season as you're building your routine in your classroom. And then last but not least, observe your students, talk with your students, and what I think you'll do is you'll identify who they are, their personalities, so that you can build that sweet culture that reflects the needs and the identity of your students.
Okay, so students are going to be going back to school starting this week for a lot of them. You're going to be hitting the schools as well to give your talks. Let's hear about that schedule.
I'm really fortunate that somebody likes what I have to say times a lot. In the last few years, I've been able to speak to over 1,000 schools and communities. And I have 4 areas that I really like to touch on. I like to focus on battling loneliness and isolation for parents and students and staff. Mm-hmm. I do have a talk that is focusing on healthy masculinity for boys. But then I also have another real focus that is on fighting racism and inequity and inequality. And then last but not least, how to stay close to your kids. And I've been really encouraged that my style of teaching is being received well by students and adults. I literally get to, in the morning, speak to kindergartens, and then throughout the day, I'll be going older and older grades. Sometimes I'll do 3 to 5 sessions a day, and then by the time I get to the grade 12s, I get to be more sarcastic, and then when I speak to staff for staff training or parents in the evening, we can have a little bit of a load off and talk as adults should about really important topics.
And what's the list of schools that you're going to be visiting soon?
I'm in almost every major school board in Ontario. So the Toronto District School Board, the Toronto Catholic Board, Durham Region, York Region, Ottawa, Hamilton, Wentworth, Halton Region, Upper Canada. I'm all over the place. I'm almost like CP24 everywhere.
Okay, Aubrey, how would you like to wrap this up?
There's a focus that is behind all of my work, and that is we are living in a world in this day and age where it is very easy to be desensitized to the needs of others, to the pain of others, and everybody's going through something. But when I realize that out of all 8 billion of us who live in the world, I probably am not having the worst day, it allows me to be sensitized to the needs and to the issues of others, and then going a step further, figuring out how to stay sensitized, because I can still be a blessing to somebody else in a little way or in a big way.
And you have a conference that's going to be in the spring?
April 23rd, 24th, 2026 will be the Hello Hope Canada Stay Sensitized Conference, specifically for educators, anybody working in the education world. We are going to have some keynote speakers, some main stage speakers, and some breakout sessions with an amazing lineup of educators from Canada and the US to really focus on empathy, fighting against racism, and making our communities sweeter, safer, and stronger.
Aubrey Noronha, youth advocate and speaker. Thank you very much for taking time to come by CP24 as we all get ready to head back to school. I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. You're watching Toronto's Breaking News, CP24. We'll be right back.